Hello, this is Dragon Tank 1400, and this is a character discussion video on Tommy Pickles from All Grown Up. Now, Tommy is the main character in All Grown Up, which just means he really started like the most episodes, and the most episodes like focused around him. Though he didn't really have the best consistent character growth, I would argue that Angelica Pickles had the most consistent, and Chucky kind of had like Chucky and Angelica both had really great character growth throughout the series. Tommy, on the other hand, did not really have that character growth. I mean, he had some character development and everything. He was in like a ton of episodes. However, it's a little bit inconsistent about where like the growth happens from like season, even like the season to season, really. So I'm kind of instead of like going through season to season like I did with Angelica, I'm gonna do more like what I did in the past. About like focusing on okay, these are the episodes that focus on like Tommy and Chucky's like friendship, or Tommy and Dill's like brotherly uh, brother bonding or whatever. I'm not gonna really mention all of them. However, like I'm gonna mention like the major ones in my eyes. Anyway, so let's get on to it. All right, so let's start off with like Tommy and Chucky's friendship. They're best friends, and that's can be established early on, even in season one. The first major conflict comes when Chucky starts to like Nicole, and he becomes Chongo and kind of like he doesn't really disown his friends, but he kind of like acts like he doesn't know him when he's Chongo. And then later on in it's Stupid Cupid, where Nicole kind of likes Tommy because of the whole Cupid thing or whatever, and Chucky gets mad at Tommy for it. Um, However, in both these cases, Chucky and Tommy both keep their friendship. Now later on, like in say season two, if you will. Now later on, like in season two, I mean, there's not really much to talk about except for episodes here and there. In season three, they got their like next really conflict in their friendship. Tommy was supposed to help Chucky like scale down a mountain, if you will. Well, I don't know how big it is, but it's like a hill, but it's like you're still scaling down it, like you're going rock climbing the opposite way, if you will. And basically, Tommy falls for a girl again. A girl just disrupts their relationship, unfortunately. This time it was the other end of it. It was Tommy liking a girl. And it turns out really good for Chucky because I talked about this before, but he actually accomplishes it without Tommy. However, Tommy was there to help him if he needed it. So, I mean, that was good. The friendship definitely grows in that episode. That's probably one of the better Tommy and Chucky episodes, in my opinion. Then, like in the rest of season three and season four, even like before, Tommy's there to help Chucky, Chucky's there to help Tommy. The real episode that kind of strained their friendship is in all the way in season five, TP plus KF in Superhero Worship. TP plus KF because Chucky thinks that Tommy likes his sister, and that creates again, it's involving a girl. This time it's a little different, so I guess it's okay. It's not really the best episode in the world. However, it did create that strain. Oh, he kind of felt betrayed by his best friend, liking his sister, which I don't know. I mean, I don't have a sister, so I don't know if that would be like a normal reaction. However, it is kind of like a conflict that they would have to get over if Tommy and Kimmy ever really did get together. And then it was Superhero Worship as well, which is a much better episode. Chucky is really like depressed about losing his comic book hero, and Tommy helps him, but Tommy also has to do this race, and he doesn't really understand why. Chucky's really upset. It really involves around Chucky losing his mom. I think the episode is really it could be better, but it was really good, and both of them apologize for not really being there for the other one. So it turns out really good, and it does create that strain in their friendship. I thought it's good to see that for once it wasn't focused on a girl. And that's really for Tommy and Chucky. That's really it. Next, I'll get into Tommy and Dill's brotherly relationship. Season 1, they did too many. They did 3 that focused on this: Teenage Tycoons, Brother, Can You Spare the Time, and Thief Encounter. Teenage Cartoons, bad episode. Really shouldn't have been an episode in my opinion, but it did show that Tommy does care about his brother, and his brother is willing to do anything for. Dill's willing to do anything for Tommy. Brother, Can You Spare the Time was really, Dill felt like he was being forgotten by his brother, and it wasn't really that. It was better than Teenage Tycoons. However, it did also create that conflict there with Dill feeling that Tommy was forgetting him. And then Thief Encounter really just shows that Tommy was there. Dill was there for his brother, and Tommy was also there for his brother, because they both thought the other one was stealing the stuff, and it was really just Tommy stressing out. Fools Rush In, another one of my least favorite episodes. Basically, Tommy gets embarrassed of Dill, and yeah, they actually overcome her at the end. One of the probably worst episodes of the series, in my opinion. So I'm going to mention it that much. And then in all the way in season 4, there's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Basically, this is probably the best Tommy and Dill episode, in my personal opinion. Well, there's some good ones in season 5 as well. However, like, this one really showcased that Dill is different, because Tommy was getting embarrassed about Dill being so different and everything. However, when Dill started to hang out with his like circus family and everything, and Dill was actually going to leave for the summer for with his like circus family or whatever, Tommy really gets upset about it, because he actually misses his brother. It creates that really bond between them that siblings would have, if you will. They fight, they ignore, they get on each other's nerves and everything, but at the end of the day, they would really miss each other. There's obviously exceptions to that rule. However, this does really show that brotherly bond between Tommy and Dill, and I kind of like the conflict revolving around like Dill's character and Tommy accepting Dill for kind of where he's at, and Dill realizing that sometimes he goes too far, and that he can be very irritating to others. So it creates that like if you will compromise between the two. So I really do enjoy the episode for Tommy and Dill's development. And then, like I said, season 5 had some really good episodes. Well, it had 2 really main ones: Bad Blood and Golden Boy. Bad Blood wasn't really that good in terms of Tommy and Dill. Tommy was just sticking up for Dill or whatever. Golden Boy, on the other hand, created this rift between them based on which was their who was it? It wasn't Grandpa Boris. It was Grandpa Lou. Which one was his favorite grandson? So it turns out that he doesn't have a favorite. However, it was really good to see them kind of compete like that, and because there's always that brotherly rivalry that goes on, and we never really got to see it between Tommy and Dill, like which one's like the favorite or whatever. So it was really good to see that dynamic between the two, and it was really good to see Tommy kind of fail at stuff, which I'll talk about next, and then Dill kind of succeeding, because Tommy doesn't fail that often. He's like kind of really good at everything. Well, there's episodes that focus on what he's not good at, and I'll talk about that in a second. However, this episode showcases he's not like instantly good at everything, and that's really good to see, like a character that's presented to be really good at everything, not be good at stuff. And they kind of like hammer it home throughout the series. However, this was the last episode, and we never got to see Dill be better at like everything pretty much that they were doing over his brother. So it was really good to see. So the next thing I want to talk about is just like the episodes that kind of focus on Dill himself, and I'll kind of get into like his relationships with his mom and dad as I'm talking about this. However, back in all the way back in season 1, in Truth or Consequences, Tommy is faced with a moral dilemma. Really, does he show this great film of his friends kind of being mean to each other and talking behind each other's back and revealing some of their secrets and everything? Or does he actually show like more of the story than just that? So it's kind of because he wants to be a filmmaker and he's struggling to like make it. And he's like, this is my movie, this is my art. But then his friends get mad at him and everything. So he's faced with like a moral dilemma, and then he kind of like creates this loophole, if you will. He shows some of the stuff, but he also shows more than just that. Um, a truth isn't just one moment captured on film. It's everything: the past, the present, and the future. So it was a really good episode, and Tommy like kind of learned an important lesson that I don't know if it carried on. We never got to see this again come up. However, it was good to see. I mean, Thief and kind of like I said, Tommy was just stressed out. It does kind of show like Tommy failing a little bit there, so that was good. River Rats, we got to see Tommy's really biggest fear, if you will, and he's a character that is known for his courage. So it's good to see that he's afraid of something. He overcomes it in this episode to save his friend Phil, but we never get to see this like crop up again or whatever. It's just assumed that he's conquered it now in River Rats. Though still a great episode. I wish they would have carried it on more. And like I said, Tommy's not the most consistent character throughout the series, and his character growth isn't like Angelica that has a like upward trend. It's just kind of they deal with different stuff here and there. The only thing I can think of though that is kind of consistent throughout the series about around Tommy is that he gets embarrassed of his grandpa in The Old and the Restless. He overcomes that, but then later he gets embarrassed in Fools Rush In. Again, overcomes it. And I think there's one more episode he gets embarrassed. I just can't really find out where. However, that is kind of consistently, but again, like he gets embarrassed and then he overcomes it. He gets embarrassed, he overcomes it. It's just not really that consistent. Now, kind of back to Tommy's film thing in Bad Aptitude, he creates like some couple bad, really bad films, and like he's actually faced with failure, something Tommy's not used to facing, and he gets into something else to succeed, but then he learns that he likes filming, and that though he's gonna fail sometimes, he kind of gets back into it. Again, this isn't really repeated anywhere, unfortunately. Like Tommy's episodes are very episodic. They don't really have like a season or a series plot. All Grown Up is like that. That for the most part. I mean, dealing with Angelica, it's not a little bit on Chucky and everything. However, like particularly with Tommy, it's me like looking at all this. It's become obvious that with Tommy's character, they did a very episodic thing, and it doesn't stop. Generally, doesn't carry over to the next episode. Unfortunately, it's just kind of here's who he's gonna deal with this time. Here's how he's gonna resolve it. So anyway, back to in Dude, Where's My Horse though. He is really bad at any kind of ranch stuff. Like whether there's riding a horse or whatever, he was really bad in this episode. Yet he's the one who becomes the leader, and he's actually a great leader. So this is a good episode for Tommy's like leadership capability. Again, they didn't really have much growth there. However, it was good to see that even though Tommy was bad at something, he was able to lead people. Again, another episode is RV Having Fun Yet, where Tommy becomes the leader to get them out of the mess they're in. And considering them crossing states over states lines, it's pretty impressive what he did. RV Having Fun Yet also deals with Tommy's relationship with his mom and some struggles there as well that deal with Tommy like growing up and his mom not treating him so much like a kid anymore. Creates strain in their relationship. However, they do overcome it at the end, and Tommy does realize that he needs he needs his mom. So it was really good. That is a conflict that a lot of kids have to go through with their parents. Their parents not still treating them as a kid when they're growing older, and they're trying to break out of their shell. So that was a great episode, and it was good to see Tommy like go through that. Speaking of Tommy's mom, let's talk about his kind of relationship with his dad. The only episode that was really seen in is the science pair, where his dad kind of takes over his invention, and though Tommy liked hanging out with his dad and building his own invention, when his dad took over, there of course was conflict there, and his dad apologized and realized, oh, I shouldn't have took over like that. Tommy didn't really learn anything in this, but I mean his dad did, so that's good. Now, lastly, with Tommy's character, before I get to the whole overview, let's deal with my least favorite character of the entire series, and that's Rachel. Tommy's main love interest throughout the series starts off with Rachel. Rachel, he likes this girl. Tommy is really bad with girls, by the way. Unlike in what is the episode called? Fear of Falling, where he seemed to be okay with girls, and some reason he was really bad with girls. And Rachel, and then she's also in RV having fun yet, but she does play a somewhat important role in Lost at Sea, where his mom kind of takes all of Rachel's time, and Rachel and Tommy's kind of really jealous about that. He wants to spend time with his girlfriend. And then there's All Broke Up, where Tommy is first not like Rachel moves away and doesn't feel like a breakup to him, and then when all things go down, Rachel really breaks up for him, and he feels the pain of breakup. I mean, to be honest, Tommy was kind of acting like a jerk there in that episode. He kind of deserved what he got. However, overall, like that whole development of Tommy's character dealing with Rachel, it could have been done better. So overall, as I've been saying throughout this whole thing, Tommy is a very episodic character, and what I mean by that is basically his plot gets resolved in that episode. Like any character growth he has gets resolved in that episode, and doesn't necessarily get carried over to the next. In fact, I can't think of really any examples where him learning something in one episode gets carried on to another episode, unlike Angelica and Chucky, really, who are, in my opinion, characters that are done much better. Tommy's still a great character, don't get me wrong. He is a great character. I'm just the way they did him, they could have done him better. Like I said, they focused on, okay, let's improve. Let's give Tommy this bad character trait in this episode and have him learn this lesson, but it doesn't carry on to any of the other episodes. So it's very episodic, if you will. But overall, he is a great character. He's, I like Kimmy, Chucky, and Angelica all better. I don't know if I like him better than Phil, Lil. I don't like him. I don't like him better than Dill. Well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say he's my least favorite of the main characters. However, because I still like his character and everything, and it's still good to see him there. I mean, some of his highlights were "Dude, Where's My Horse?" where he's struggling, but he becomes a leader, and then and there's other episodes like Truth or Consequences, which is good. I wish that they would have carried on his character growth. He has character growth within an episode, but within a season or a series, it's like they act like the character growth doesn't exist, or they just never talk about it. Anyway, so those are my thoughts about Tommy Pickles. Where do I see him? I think I mentioned him. I do think Tommy and Kimmy will, in my version of the story, would have ended up together. Tommy would have struggled with filmmaking, but one thing that is consistent with Tommy is that the films that really deal with that aren't staged, the film that he created of his friends, the film that in any really filming that's done naturally, he does better than like artistic films, as seen in Course in Truth or Consequences. So I think Tommy will kind of struggle with his film, and then Kimmy, who likes wildlife and animals and all that stuff, will kind of convince him maybe to go to an abroad to like Africa or some kind of nature place, and Tommy will realize, oh, I should be filming wildlife, animals, and that kind of stuff. Kind of like, in a way, kind of like the Wild Thornberrys. However, it would be like Tommy and Kimmy together, doing it in an RV or whatever, traveling the world and making nature. What are they called? I can't remember at the moment, but creating like nature films and all that kind of stuff. So it was a documentary. So that's kind of where I see Tommy Pickles like end up in the future. Kind of put in the comments below where you think he's gonna end up, or you think he's gonna end up with Kimmy or somewhere else, someone else. I mean, Tommy's the main character. What like I generally don't like main characters. Well, that's not true. I like them, but they're generally not my favorite characters. I kind of a lot of times feel neutral or like just above neutral, if you will, about main characters. And what are your thoughts about Tommy as a main character? And let me know in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye.